As they say, discovery requires some experimentation. So, welcome everybody to this video, and in this video we're going to have a preview to another episode of our podcast that will be devoted to the year's highlights, the year of 2022. And in this particular episode I'm going to talk about some things that I learned, not all of them, but some of them this year, and this is something that I wanted to share a little bit. So those are just kind of like maybe some of the most important thoughts that I have recently had once we started getting close to the year's end, now that it is Christmas and stuff like that. So holidays are coming up, and naturally it is time for reflections. So one of the things that I was thinking about was perseverance. Perseverance, it is an important skill, to say the least, and especially it manifested itself when I was dealing with many projects. A lot of them were important, and I just had to carry on in order to be able to get to the results that I wanted to obtain. And in many cases I failed to achieve a particular goal because of the lack of perseverance. So everything else was pretty much available. There was no huge obstacle on the way to a particular goal. I just had to do this. And I decided not to do something. And I think the root cause was that I just decided not to persevere in the face of conceivable challenges, right? So it was maybe kind of like a relatively complicated thing to do, or maybe it was cold outside, or maybe I did not have enough time in the day. But when I look back at those things which I could have done, I totally could have done them. Yes, maybe I would have been more fatigued, right, after accomplishing them by way of finding more time to work during the night, for example. And I would have been more of a winner than a loser when it comes to those results. But I did not persevere, and consequently I failed. So right now at least I'm not failing in terms of the time to deliver my speech pieces, which is quite exciting. But anyway, so those are technicalities. So yeah, let's take a look at the notes and see what else I had thoughts about. So another thing that I was thinking about is time management, right? So yeah, this is something that maybe will help you with using less of the perseverance and mental toughness, all that stuff, whilst accomplishing your goal, right? And then you will be actually better off if you manage your time better, such as, for instance, you schedule something that needs to be done and you go ahead and do it. So it is as easy as that sometimes. And here there is going to be not so much of the perseverance that you need to use, you just need to show up, right? And there is like no stress essentially associated with this situation. Whereas if you don't show up, that's when you, for example, need to work at night, and that's when you need to persevere. Of course, not everything is under our control, and sometimes we do have to kind of show up later for something. And in this case, yeah, the skill of perseverance will kick in. But ultimately, first line of defense would be to take the calendar, put something into the calendar, whatever you need to do, set the time for completion of the task, and just go ahead and then do that. And then this action is achievable, it is totally doable, in my at least opinion, and then I think hopefully this will apply to many other people's situations. But the thing here is just not to miss the allocated time slot for some sort of activity, and you'll be fine. So you will experience much less stress whilst dealing with a particular task. And yeah, as I was saying, probably you will not have to kind of have a sleepless night in order to accomplish something that you need to or have to do. So let's take a look at the notes again. Notes are important, that's why we take them. Yeah, so just kind of like manage the time better. So that's what I need to do definitely next year. So another one is, yeah, as we say in Eastern Europe, is I would like to stop stepping on the same rake, right? Or in other words, I would like to stop making the same mistakes, right? For instance, as one of my work kind of like activities, I need to deliver, let's say, particular papers on time, right? So particular reports on time. And this is very important, right? So for the well-being of the people who receive those reports. However, what I was doing is that I was not managing my time correctly, and then I kept delivering those reports, sometimes not on time. So they were late, in other words, right? And then this lateness can lead to the general sort of disadvantages, right? Disadvantages to the people who receive those reports late, and disadvantages to you because you are not on time and then you don't deliver results in a timely fashion. So yeah, that was a mistake, kind of this non-delivery of reports on time, so to speak. That was a mistake which I was making several times, actually. And despite the fact I was trying to make it stop, I couldn't. So, however, I sat down, thought about that situation, and I developed methods to deal with this in the future. Right? So, hopefully I'll be able to stop making the same mistakes in the next year. So, once again, this is something that I think many people encounter. They just kind of like fall short somewhere or at something, right? And then even if they realize, okay, I made a mistake, they make this mistake again. So maybe it's just kind of the complexity of the issue, right? Maybe it is just kind of like bad habits, whatever it may be. So it would be very nice to stop making the same mistakes, especially if you can sit down, analyze what happened, and just improve the situation and stop making that very mistake. So, yeah, let's just kind of learn from our mistakes and become better. So that's going to be the conclusion here. And last but not least, another thing I was thinking about is that I would like to stop the situation in which I say, well, it's good to be back, for example, to the gym exercises, right? So oftentimes, due to the mismanagement of my time, I had to put in abeyance some activities which were beneficial for me, right? So, but just because of lack of time, I decided, well, I cannot do these particular things, so I'm going to just abandon it for, I don't know, a week or a month. And then I get back to this activity, and then I realized that I have lost quite a bit of skill by the time I finally got back. Yes, it is good to be back, but also it kind of sucks when you have to restart something that you gained, right? When you have to relearn some skills that you gained, then you put a pause on some activity, and then those skills kind of like became full of dust, and now you need to recover them. So yeah, that is a suboptimal situation, and then genuinely I would like to get rid of this in the next year. So it's been just right under 10 minutes, I would say, and it's a wrap. So consider this as a sort of a mixture of thoughts devoted to this year's lessons, some of them. And this is something that I found very important as I was thinking about what has happened to me this year and how I can improve myself and this project, and I believe bring more value to you, dear viewers. Okay, well, we shall see you in the next video and or podcast episode if you listen to the audio format of this project. So please leave comments below about what you would like to hear next, and we will be happy to read all and any comments and come back to you guys. So this podcast was sponsored by actually Perseverance. So I persevered, found this new great space, and I'm very grateful that I was able to use it for the betterment of this project. Also, this podcast was sponsored by Proper Time Management, in which case I'm just in the required time interval to record this episode and carry on with the day in a successful fashion, I hope, without any other tasks associated with recording lingering on my back. So, well guys, persevere, manage the time properly, stop making the same mistakes over and over again, and stop getting back to the activities. Just do the activity as much as you can, as consistently and continually as you can, and you will be awesome. Please subscribe, and we'll continue bringing excellent content to everybody. Peace!